The number everyone's whispering is 4 to 6 billion. That's the entry price. Do the math, and each current owner sees a check near 400 million. Then suddenly, Kansas City's name starts showing up in back-channel conversations. Is KC the next NBA city, or a negotiating prop to push fees higher? The league just locked a $76 billion media deal. Revenues are surging, but expansion math isn't simple anymore. Local TV is shaky, national money is king, and dilution never sleeps. To understand why a $4 billion headline might be a lie, we need to go back to the last time the door opened. In 2004, Charlotte paid $300 million to get in. That worked out to roughly $10 million per existing team. Nice bonus, not life-changing. Fast forward to today's chatter, $5 to $6 billion for Seattle and Las Vegas. Now you're talking about $400 million per current owner if 2 teams join. That's not a bonus, that's a balance sheet event. Here's the trade, a one-time windfall versus permanent dilution. Your share of league distribution slides from 1/30th to 1/32nd. It sounds small until you stretch it over a decade of richer TV checks. Owners are asking the only question that matters. Does $400 million today beat smaller slices forever? Meanwhile, the NBA's annual revenue hit roughly $11.3 billion last season. The new national media deal will send about $230 million per team per year. What nobody appreciated during the last expansion is how the pie would flip. National media now drives more than 60% of income. International money about 15% and rising adds another cushion. Local media used to be the anchor. With RSNs wobbling, it's becoming a variable cost with churn. That shift changed everything. If national and international pools are the engine, the risk for expansion lives mostly in the local lane. Tickets, suites, sponsorship, and whatever replaces the regional TV model. Owners can live with higher national certainty. They're allergic to local volatility. Now layer in costs. Players take roughly 51% of basketball-related income. The cap's rising, payrolls follow, and operating expenses don't sit still. Performance centers, travel, team staff, analytics, plus interest on arena projects. Dilution stings more when costs escalate. Inside one mid-market front office, the math looks personal. The principal stares at arena debt. The $400 million expansion check could erase a covenant issue, refinance at better terms, and fund a practice facility without tapping limited partners. It feels like a reset button. But across the table, someone else reminds him, you're giving up 2 future percentage points of every national dollar every year. Relocation history adds a caution flag. Seattle to Oklahoma City proved a smaller market can work if the building rocks and the product wins. But expansion isn't relocation. You aren't inheriting a lease and a fan base, you're proving one from scratch. That's why owners now prioritize media reach, digital subs, and corporate depth over pure population. So, are they motivated? Absolutely. The checks are enormous. The media deal is locked, and the global audience is growing. If the owners are leaning yes, the next question gets sharper. Which city actually de-risks the future rather than just decorating the map? Here's the wager. Kansas City either proves it can carry an NBA franchise through booms and bad months, or it becomes a useful pawn to raise everyone else's price. Jobs, civic pride, and a few billion in investor capital ride on which way the model leans. Start with the engine already running. The city's sports economy is humming. Chiefs, Royals, Sporting KC, and the Current collectively clearing north of $1 billion in annual revenue. That's not just parades, it's a functioning sales machine, an experienced ticketing base, and corporate buyers trained to spend. Add a World Cup on the calendar and a sold-out women's stadium, and you have proof of habit, not just hype. Now layer the fan economy. Kansas City consistently ranks as a top NFL TV market. That attention translates into retail spikes and sponsor comfort. The betting market crossed into multi-billion territory, with football taking the largest slice but basketball and soccer growing. On Sundays, one neighborhood bar reports sales up a quarter from betting activations alone. That's micro, but it shows how disposable income is moving around live sports. Geography helps. A central footprint trims travel time and cost, balances the West without stretching the map, and builds instant friction with the Thunder and Grizzlies. Rivalries aren't just fun, they're revenue. They lift midweek tickets and RSN replacements. They make March feel like May. Then the hard part, the building and the broadcast. The T-Mobile Center is modern and empty. That's a blessing and a question. Upgrades are cheaper than breaking ground, but the lease, revenue splits, naming rights, and premium inventory dictate whether operating margins hold past year one. A new build can capture district economics, restaurants, concerts, non-NBA nights, but only if debt service doesn't eat the gains. Local media is the real riddle. The regional sports network model is wobbling. A Kansas City bid has to show a sustainable local streaming plan, direct-to-consumer ARPU, churn below painful levels, ad load that doesn't kill engagement, and a sponsorship stack that doesn't cannibalize the Chiefs. National revenue will arrive. Local volatility is the knife edge. Sponsorship depth can cut both ways. NFL dominance may crowd the calendar and budgets, but it also proves there's annual spend. The NBA's value prop is frequency. 41 home games, brandable moments all winter. B2B hospitality on Tuesday nights. The mid-market trick is converting novelty into renewals. Year 1 sells itself. Years 2 through 5 pay the debt. Behind closed doors, a prospective KC group runs cohort analysis on a swelling waitlist. Great, but the spreadsheet turns on corporate premium. How many suites roll over at full rate? How many founder seats drop after the honeymoon? How many local partners commit to multi-year signage plus digital? There's a quiet advantage. Soccer investments created a family pipeline, youth programs, women's sports fans, suburban venues that can cross into winter basketball. If that audience shows up midweek, per capita spend rises and churn falls. Here's the hidden math. If Kansas City's local media delta underperforms, the national split won't fully offset dilution for existing owners. KC's counter is operational efficiency, central travel, lower per diem, full-year arena utilization, valuable but secondary. To win, Kansas City has to overperform in per capita spend, corporate retention, and DTC stability, and prove it will still look healthy in February after a 5-game skid. This is where the decision actually gets made, in a spreadsheet that weighs a giant check against thinner slices forever. Start with the inputs. Assume a $5 to $6 billion fee for top bids. Add arena capex, either upgrades with revenue sharing quirks or a ground-up district that shifts economics but loads debt. Layer in local media, AirPU, ticket yield, corporate sponsorship, PSLs, and a direct-to-consumer submodel that has to survive churn after the honeymoon. From the owner's chair, 2 teams mean roughly $400 million to each existing franchise, but their share of league distributions drops from 1/30th to 1/32nd. On the league side, more inventory feeds a $76 billion media deal, creates global windows, and strengthens partners who now pay about $230 million per team per year. For the new team, the ramp is simple to say and hard to hit. Absorb fee financing, fund roster, and staff, and reach break-even by year 4 to 6 without torching goodwill on price hikes. Stress test the soft spots. Local media is the biggest swing. If RSN replacements require high subscriber acquisition costs and churn balloons in year 2, margins get chewed up. Ticket reality is similar. Year 1 sells out on story alone. The slope matters. Do renewals hold at full rate? Does dynamic pricing backfire on Tuesday nights in February? Premium drives the model. Founders seats, logos, club inventory, so suite rollover rates become a heartbeat metric. Sponsorship starts loud. National brands love a ribbon cutting, but mid-markets need durable B2B, local banks, insurers, healthcare systems to fill off nights and shoulder multi-year commitments. If the KC scenario becomes city number 3, behind Seattle and Vegas, fee pressure arrives. A discount might be the only way the math pencils, but then politics hits. Do peers accept smaller checks so a mid-market can enter? Inside one boardroom, the tension is real. One owner favors KC's operational logic, central travel, tighter costs, clean rivalries that boost midweek demand. Another says, take the highest possible fee cities first and keep the checks maximized. The but therefore runs the meeting. Kansas City offers efficiency, therefore it lowers risk. But Vegas and Seattle set the bar on media upside, therefore the fee benchmark climbs with them. So what's the decision signal? Watch the league stall KC until local streaming is clearer. AirPU targets, churn lanes, ad CPMs, and a sponsorship stack that holds after football season. That pause isn't a no. It positions Kansas City as a fast follow if metrics improve. And that's the reveal behind the headline. The $4 billion number is shorthand. For the top bids, the true cost likely resolves at 5 to 6. For KC to stand next to that, it has to prove parity in per capita spend, premium retention, and DTC stability, not just in opening month, but on a 10-year curve that survives bad teams and broken media models. Expansion isn't about pinning logos to a map. It's about models that keep working when the winds dry up and the media landscape breaks. If you want the real inputs for Seattle, Vegas, and a fast follow Kansas City, subscribe and jump to our deep dives next. We walk through the exact assumptions, stress tests, and signals owners are using right now.